first started by ushering and selling ice creams once a week, and then I went into the pay box. I've been doing the pay box for about 20 years. Until I was 7, I was in Sri Lanka. It is the most beautiful island. It's the most beautiful place that I've ever seen in the world. I had a very happy time there because, I had a Sinhalese nanny who looked after me, who was very beautiful. My parents were very happy out there. In those days, it wasn't considered a good thing to do for children to be educated in the Far East. So I came home with my mother. My sister had come home 4 years earlier, and we both went to school in East Grinstead in Sussex. I was a bit of a bossy girl, and I ruled the roost over the other children. I remember as a schoolgirl, I was very fond of the film stars of the day, and I just wanted to be an actress. Every year we used to have what was known as the Radha Ball. I used to go every year, and I was in a play at the time, and I went along to this show, and a young man came up to me and said, could you take photographs of me? And I being an actress, was only too keen to have as many photographs taken of myself as possible. So I went along to his studio, and he was Anthony Armstrong-Jones. I'm a Camera was my favourite part of all time. I played for quite a long time on tour. I can't remember the actual year, but Peter Sellers, we did a sketch on the Dickie Valentine show. He was very quiet actually, but very funny in the remarks he made off screen. He really was very funny. I was at drama school with his first wife, Anne Hayes, and I remember when she and I were in a play up in Golders Green, Peter Sellers came up there. He was quite a fat young man in those days. The person who influenced my career most of all was Donald Albury. He developed my career quite a lot. He put me in plays which I would never have been in if he hadn't influenced my career like he did. He was a father figure.
So we came to live in Wareham, and I became a frequent patron of the Rex. Always loved cinema since I was little. Since I got working with the Rex, I have been using my interest in animation to do some local welcoming animations for the big screen at the Rex during the ice cream breaks, introducing the staff of the evening with stop motion caricatures of the people involved. Spent my childhood in the south of Scotland on the shores of the Solway Firth. I grew up in a town called Annan. I was always interested in dinosaurs. I saw my first dinosaur in a comic when I was about 5 years old. I took the picture along to my father and I said, "Dad, what's this all about?" And he took down an ancient natural history book off the shelf, blew the dust off it, and opened it up. And here were these pictures, these photographs of fossils of animals that existed millions and millions of years ago. And that was it. I was hooked. When I was 14 years old, I sold my train set and bought my first movie camera, a little standard 8mm job. And the first thing I did was some stop motion animation with plasticine dinosaurs. For the past 30 years I've been a science writer. I've been writing geological articles for encyclopedias, kids' books on dinosaurs, handbooks on fossil collecting, that sort of thing. Most popular books on evolution look towards the past, the interesting things that happened in the past, the dinosaurs, the development of the horse, the human beings, the coal forests, all that. They seem to give the impression that evolution was something that happened in the past to get us to where we are today and has now stopped. Well, that is not the case at all. I thought, let's do this differently. Let's take the known processes of evolution, let's take the observed trends and project them into the future. See what animal life might be like in the far future. So I came out with this book, After Man. About 10 years later, I was working as a lecturer in America. I had a lecture tour sponsored by one of my American publishers of one of my dinosaur books. And I was approached while on that tour by a chap from Hollywood. A certain Mr. S in Hollywood was setting up a new studio called DreamWorks, and this After Man book was exactly the sort of material that he was looking for.
I've been working here about 6 years. I don't know, I was going by here one day and then I sort of just popped in and asked about it, and they were like, yeah, we always need projectionists. I just started, you know, doing it, and it was brilliant, and I just come and see all these different films that you wouldn't necessarily get to see in other cinemas, or if you do, it's a very limited sort of release, and it's just fantastic. I grew up in Sandford, which is about 2 miles just outside of where Mother Rex is. I think I just remember it's sort of nice having the woods that are in between Sandford and the Wareham area, and just running around and riding bikes. Originally, you know, I wanted to tell stories in fiction filmmaking, and I was really set on that from a really young age. Then I just realised that really what I wanted to do was kind of explore the stories that were already out there in the world, and I realised that they can be sort of just as interesting or weird or wonderful. I think the best thing my favourite thing that I produced was getting to work on 16mm film. The basic idea was to make this sort of slow-paced documentary about the process of skinning a deer, and you know, shooting it was great fun. At the end of the day, because we'd had this deer and we didn't want to just waste a deer for the sake of the film, so we had to, you know, eat the whole thing. So for the next couple of months, you know, I lived off of deer stew and deer steaks and deer everything, you know. My favourite documentary that, you know, I've ever seen was Searching for the Wrong-Eyed Jesus, which is this kind of meditative piece set in the southern states of America. And it doesn't really, nothing really happens, but it's kind of beautiful, and it's intertwined with these sort of weird on-location music videos. Yeah, so that's a very big inspiration to me to sort of make documentary, but to make it kind of beautiful. Driving for Freedom is a feature-length documentary that I'm working on with my producer Adam Merrifield, about clotheslines that have been banned in America in certain communities. There's all sorts of controversy that sort of surrounds it, so I thought that idea up when I just googled the word laundry for some reason, and then I just saw this little line about it saying that the clothesline creates some controversy in little communities in the US, and just as soon as I read that, I just knew that had to be a documentary, because it just said everything to me about my interest and curiosity about America, the things that I love about it, the things that I sort of think I might not like about it. The film took me across the US through 22 different states, also India as well. We went to Mumbai and New Delhi and Pune, and that was an amazing experience.
shadow, and every day is trying to trick me into doing battle. Calling out fake up, wanna get me rattled, wanna pull me back behind the fence with the cattle. Building your lenses, digging your trenches, put me on the front line, leave me with a dumb mind with no defenses. But your defenses, if you can't stand to feel the pain, then you are senseless. Since this, I've grown up some different kind of fighter, and when the darkness comes, let it inside you. Your darkness is shining, my darkness is shining.